weapons from World War II, adapted for blank firing. There's no live fire going on. But if you have sensitive ears, make sure to use both your fingers, plug them. So we are a living history reenactment group based in Alberta. We have members from all over the province who come together to create an immersive World War II experience. Our membership comprises of civilians, former members of the military, and even a few current serving ones. Today we are going to show you a few authentic World War II weapons as used by the unit in that great conflict known as World War II. You might have heard of it. It ended almost 80 years ago and took place really globally, hence World War, and in many ways shaped the world as we know it today. So here's the first Special Service Force. It was an elite joint Canadian-American Special Forces unit of about 1,800 men, and its unit's inception was July 9th, 1942, and it was trained at Fort William Henry Harrison in Helena, Montana. Members were trained in various forms of specialized equipment in combat, including mountaineering, skiing, airborne operations, and hand-to-hand combat. After training and some initial deployments, the first Special Service Force was landed in Anzio, in Italy, and found itself squaring off against the elements of the Wehrmacht, the German army of World War II. Notably, the 65th Infantry Division. You might have seen a few of them walking around. They're the guys with the square-looking helmets and a bad attitude. Kidding. Of course, the members of the 65th Infantry Division are part of a larger First Special Service Force Living History Association. And we wouldn't be able to tell our story without having theirs told well. Funny how history works that way. The First Special Service Force would go on to earn a fierce fighting reputation in Italy, earning the nickname Die Schwarzen or the Black Devils, from their German adversaries. Whether it was because they often had operations at night, or because they blackened their faces with soot, isn't clear. What is clear, they were incredible fighters, struck terror into their enemies wherever they faced them. Today, several units are direct descendants of the First Special Service Force, including our own Canadian Special Operations Regiment, and the First Special Forces Command in the United States. But let's get to the gear. Up first, what the force was issued. So the First Special Service Force was a joint infantry commander unit. It was commanded by the Americans, trained in America, and as such was issued American gear. This caused a bit of resentment at first from the Canadians, but by the time the unit arrived for its first operational deployment in August of 1943, they were definitely a unit in every sense of the word. All right, let's get to the weapons. That's what we came here to see. First off, we're going to show you the first thing, which is iconic into the First Special Service Force nomenclature, which is the B-42 dagger. Every force member was issued a B-42 dagger. Similar to the Fairbairn-Sykes commando knife used by the British, it is a nasty little double-edged dagger that can penetrate a standard GI steel helmet one punch. See the little knob at the end of the handle? Right here? That's a skull crusher. And it's used to, you get the idea. It also features a unique thumb groove that allows the blade to aid in thrusting. It would get right in between the ribs. Of course, the soldiers didn't go into combat with just the knife. That would be silly, especially not to a gunfight. That's why the First Special Service Force has several items. First up is the Colt 1911 handgun. It's chambered, 45 ACP, has a 7-round magazine, and is semi-automatic, meaning you can fire one time after you pull the trigger. Most of the men in the First Special Service Force, from the rank of corporal on up, carry 1911 on their hip. Sergeant Carriers, you want to take the firing line, please? Here's a quick demonstration. Ready, aim, fire! Now you can see, a handgun was really only good at close ranges. Our main battle rifle, the workhorse of the First Special Service Force, is the M1 Garand. As you can see, our two soldiers here holding, and what's on my shoulder. The standard issue infantry rifle of the U.S. Army in World War II has an 8-round clip that is fed from the top of the rifle. This gives the Garand the unique ping sound when it ejects the clip. It is chambered at 30-06 M2 ball ammunition, General George S. Patton famously said, in my opinion, the Yemen rifle is the best battle implement ever. John Grant was also a Canadian. So there we go. All right, gentlemen, take your firing line. Load your weapons. Let's never get loud. Ready, and fire! There's the pig. There's the other pig. Weapons are safe. You can see how fast this weapon can fire. You'll get a demo against, see what the German weapons were up against. Now, this is something very special. Next up we have the Thompson Sub Machine Gun. This is the first ever weapon to be labeled a submachine gun. It fires from the open bolt position and is also select fire. Trips are issued, magazines depending on the Thompson. There are two types for this Thompson itself. 20-round magazine, right here, and the 30-round magazine. They were given larger capacity drum magazines for other models. This weapon itself cannot hold a drum magazine. The Thompson was used by the British and the Canadians and the Americans. Most 1st Special Service Force soldiers carried the M1A1 variant of this weapon, just as Sergeant Karras here is shown. All right, who wants to see what the Thompson can do? A little louder. Who wants to see what the Thompson can do? Ready! Aim! Fire! Weapons clear. Not a lot of people get to see that. It's very rare you have one, especially in Canada. Give a big round of applause. Now we can't do this demo without seeing what the 1st Special Service Force are up against. In Italy, in Mount La Defensa. First up, we want to see a German soldier. Here's a German coming in, right behind us through the high grass. But what he has is a Mauser K98. The K stands for Carabiner. It's a bolt-action rifle that holds 5 rounds of 8mm ammunition loaded from the top. This was the main battle rifle of the German army. That has served throughout World War II in all fronts and even well beyond World War II in the armies and conflicts of many other weapons. All right, take your firing position. Ready? Load. Here you can see he's grabbing his flint from his pouch, loading it from the top. Weapon is loaded. Ready? Aim! Fire! Weapon's clear. That took them that long to fire 5 rounds. We could have fired off 2 clips of 8 rounds by that time. Now you guys remember the Thompson Sub Machine Gun? This is the German equivalent. This is the Maschinen Pistol Didsbury, or MP40. This is fully automatic. It's issued with 32-round stick magazines, giving it more or less the same profile as the Thompson. This fucker 9mm Luger ammunition, despite it looking flimsy, it was flimsy looking appearance, it was very accurate and easily controllable. These have been heavily featured in film and television, Indiana Jones, Saving Private Ryan, Band of Brothers, you've seen it all. All right, let's give a demo. Ready? Aim! Fire! That's not too bad. Let's give him a hand. Let's give him a hand. All right. Next up is 2 very special weapons that we want to demonstrate here. This is what the German army, the German sections were built around. It was the machine guns, or machine gewehr. First up, and being brought in momentarily is going to be the Maschinengewehr 34, also called the MG34. It is a belt-fed machine gun coming in at 26 pounds, so not light. It shot the standard 8mm cartridge, and the K98 fired at a rate of about 900 rounds. It had a quick change barrel option, ideally served by a crew of 3. The gunner, the loader, and the ammo carrier. So here, our gentleman is holding our MG34. You want to place that on the ground for me in a firing position? Remember, these weapons are over 80 years old. These are all original weapons that were served by the German Army. They all have stamps, they're all correct, and they have been blank modified. But they are still machine guns, and they're still very rare and very hard to get. I want to thank our company, Kent Prop Works, where we do movies, film and TV, that we're allowed here to do a nice demo for everybody. So, the MG34, let's load a belt, boys. All right, ready your weapon? Fire at will. I guess Will's not firing. Reload it. Stop the handle. There you go. Try it again. Both fingers. There you go. That's pretty loud. That was pretty fast. How many rounds do you think that was?
5.
About 10 rounds. That's very good.
5.
All right, gentlemen. I want you guys to remember what that sounded like and what it felt like. We're going to come over here. We're going to do the next weapon. The MG34 was very common in the earlier parts of the war, but served until the end despite being superseded by this. This is the Maschinengewehr 34 or MG42. The belt-fed machine gun, chambered in 8mm, made to replace the MG34 which you just saw. This didn't happen, so both weapons saw service until the end of the war. This weapon had a terrific and terrifying rate of fire of up to 1,500 rounds per minute. The weapon's rate of fire was so fast it was nicknamed Hitler's buzzsaw, Hitler's zipper. The Russians called it the linoleum ripper. If you've seen movies like Saving Private Ryan or Band of Brothers, you've seen and heard this weapon in action, so you know the nickname will serve it well. And here we're going to do a live demo for you. All right, load your weapon. These are positioned on the beaches of Normandy when our troops landed, and this is what they had to deal with. Aside from mortars, explosions, artillery. Ready, fire at will! Would not want to be in front of that.
We unfortunately have to interrupt this just for a brief second for a safety thing. There is a vehicle that needs to be moved. So if you own a gray van, license plate BPL 5450, you are currently parked in our turning lane, which is also an emergency lane. So you need to go and move your vehicle. Gray van BPL 5450, please move your vehicle. Thank you. Excellent time. That concludes our demonstration. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or would like to come and look closer at some of the weapons and our gear, please visit our encampment. Tap one of the guys on the shoulder. Please don't pick up a weapon. That's a good way to get them to lie down on the ground really quickly. Our goal is to educate and show what the 1st Special Service Force's equipment and gear look like and how it functions. And we're more than happy to chat. Believe it or not, so are the Germans. Thank you very much.